Hey guys! So this video is kind of serious, or at least it has a serious tone in it because of the book that it's about, which is This Is Where It Ends by Marieke Nijkamp. I swear I feel like I'm butchering her name. But this book, it was told over 54 minutes in 4 different point of views, and it moved so fast and so much happened. And by the end of it, I felt like I felt with these characters, and it made me, really aware of the stuff that happens, because there's students that go crazy and there's people that go crazy and think it's a good idea to shoot up a school, and that's what this book was about. This guy, he felt that no one understood him and no one was there for him and no one loved him anymore. And so, he took it out on his classmates and his teachers, and it's really depressing because of that. Because there are people that actually go out and do that, and it's not just a story. I mean, this one was just a fictional story, but, they even put the social media aspect in the book, and it's a terrifying concept, and I cried and I sobbed through the book, but it was so good. And it's one of those books that you want to buy to have, but you're not sure you'll read it again because it was so good. You don't want to ruin your first impression of it. But it was such a good book. So now is where the spoilers are gonna start. So if you haven't read the book, or you care about and you want to read the book, or you just don't care for spoilers, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. Okay, are they gone?
What?
Are they gone? Okay. So the book is about these 4 characters: Tomas, Claire, Sylve, and Autumn. And I really like the LGBT aspect of it with Sylve and Autumn, because, what they go through in the book. They want to be protecting each other, but they're also, the shooter was Autumn's brother. And it was so intense. And, you don't think that any of the main characters are gonna die, but one of them does. And I started crying because I just thought, oh my goodness. And it was Tomas, and he died trying to protect his sister. And it was just really, really sad. And I just kind of sat there and cried. And I had to take a break a couple times while reading the book, because it is so emotional and it is so serious that you just have to take a step back and kind of come back to, you're not in the book, because it catches your attention so quickly, and once you get into it, you won't put it down. In the beginning, I I took a break. I was reading it before bed, and I was tired, so I wasn't really reading it. And so, I'd read, a couple pages, but then, I was okay, I have to read this. And I sat down, and I read through it, looking like a total nerd with my glasses on. And, I thought I was going to fog up my glasses because of how much I was crying, but it is such a good book. I totally recommend it. And it's just, you're sitting there wanting it to continue, wanting to know, what the characters get up to. Autumn, she loves to dance, and, she gets shot in the knee, and you're just kind of sitting there thinking, is she able to dance again? Is she gonna, be able to follow her dream, or is she gonna be stuck? Then you wonder, because Tomas died and Sylve was his sister, and their mom, I think, has, the beginning of Alzheimer's, or she has some sort of, disease that kind of eats away at her memory. And how is she gonna have to explain? Is she gonna have to explain each day that her brother's not coming home, that he died at the school. And then there was Claire, who was a runner, and she dated the shooter. And the only reason she got out of, because it all happened when they were in the auditorium for some sort of school assembly, and the track runners got out of it because you have to practice, and they heard gunshots, and they were running, and they were found by the police, and they ended up being the grief counselors because they were there. And it's just like each person that dies, like, you feel that, like, it hurts, because they introduce you to the characters, or they tell you just enough that you're like, no, I don't want this person to die. And it's so emotional, because I think they said in the book that 35 or 20, either 35 or 25, something like that, people died. And it's really just grounding, because, Columbine happened, and stuff like, and Newtown, and all of that happened, and you're just thinking, like, this is what people go through. Like, you hear about a school shooting in your town, or, like, if a school shooting happens at the school that you go to or your kids go to, it's immediately, are your kids all right? There were parents waiting outside, there were siblings, and it's really hard, because you don't want to think about that. And that's kind of why I wanted to read this book, because, I love the sentence, everyone has a reason to fear the boy with a gun. And in the book, so many of the people that died, he thought that they did something to him. And, really it was just he went through a lot, and he was just, he wasn't doing the best with what he was given and all of that. So you're just kind of sitting there wanting it to stop, and for a second you think that it is, and you think, that it's going to be okay, and he's just going to be taken by the police, and he's going to stop doing it, and he's going to stop shooting. And then at the very, 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 very end of the book, he ends up shooting himself. And it's just, it's really emotional, and you're feeling every bit of it. But I loved the story. I'm definitely it definitely changed, well, maybe not changed me, but it definitely made me think of things in a different way. It's not immediately that it's gonna be, oh, there was another school shooting, oh, that's terrible. I'm gonna understand it more, that every single person has a story, and every person's point of view matters, and they're all going through a terrible time. And it's just, it's awful. And it's a shame that this kind of stuff happens, but this book was definitely really good. I'm sorry that this was such a depressing book talk for my first one. But this one kind of was important to me, and it was such a good story that I felt like I had to talk about it, and I love the cover with the chalk. I just think it's amazing. But I definitely recommend you picking this up and reading it, because it really is good, and it really is something that I was in a terrible book slump, and I got out of the book slump because of this. So, if it can get me out of a book slump, imagine if you're not in a book slump, what it will do to you. But it was so good, and I really recommend it. So that was it. That was my book talk. It was probably really, really shitty. I'm gonna be honest. Because I get so nervous. I don't know why I'm nervous in front of the camera, but I get so nervous. And, I don't always know what to say, so I say, a lot. But I'm gonna try and do better with that. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!